Okay. Okay. So I want to make a video, right? I want to make a video specifically about this, right? So I'm making a video right now. So what I hate about it, right? I wanted to be a voice actress, right? I wanted to be a voice actress specifically, right? But the amount of shit that's been happening in the voice acting scene, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know if I even want to be an ENVA anymore just because of it. Just because I'm just kind of like I don't know, dude. It's just there's just too much questionable shit in the ENVA stuff. So I don't even know specifically what I even want to do. And I just kind of like, man, I just rather go learn Japanese again and then do Japanese VA instead. So like go take Japanese voice acting in Japan for a couple months, couple years or so, and then and then go for it from there, Remember the Funimation case of Monica Riel against Vic Minoga? Yeah, I remember that. I remember that specifically. Hey, Envy. That face in Mujin's video. Yep. I'll be honest with you. It's just I don't know, man. I think if I ever become an ENVA, right? If I become an ENVA actress, right? I'm just gonna mind my own business, to be honest. Like I'm not gonna make friends with like other VAs. I'll make acquaintances and stuff like that, right? It's be like, oh, it's nice working with you, nice to meet you, and all this other stuff, right? But I wouldn't like how do I say this? I wouldn't like try to associate as much because like there's just too many things that's been happening that's like very questionable in the ENVA community, There's just too many questionable things. And I'm just kind of like, I don't want to associate with any of that, to be honest. I'm trying to fucking keep my hands clean, okay? All right? I'm just trying to like put my hands up in the air and walk away and be like, yeah, nope, that ain't me. Nope, I ain't do shit. Nope. So, yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I'm keeping it clean, man. I'm just keeping it clean. But I want to check out the video real quick to see what's going on here specifically.
Not having done enough of a background check is not an excuse this time. God, this is such a mess. On July 18th, Honkai Star Rail, which is a massive gacha game made by the same developer of Genshin Impact, which is HOYOVERSE, made this tweet, which is showing off a character that will be releasing in the upcoming...
Yeah, but remember this, HOYOVERSE is a Chinese company, and whoever is doing the EN side of voice acting, right, the scouting or so for the voice actors, it should be their side. You think the Chinese part of the company that's focusing on the Chinese side of things, the Chinese voice actors who they're trying to hire as Chinese voice actors are going to know anything about the ENVA side? No, they're not going to know anything on the ENVA side. They have their own different agencies. So you have to, I'm blaming fingers mostly on the ENVA agency who hired this specific person, because I've been hearing, a lot of shit. So, but yeah.
Updates. This is something they do all the time. It's called drip marketing. It's to build hype, and they keep building hype up until the character comes out. In this case, the character's name is Mose, and he's a 4-star. There's usually a quote of the character, and then a little description of who they are. Things got tricky though when people saw who the English voice was. Chris Niosi. But not everyone was really aware. I would even say it's in the minority. Many in the comments are very hyped, are praising the character's design, but there are some, like this one right here, saying, so just Google his English voice actor, just wow Hoyo. Okay, let's Google him. Chris Niosi. Okay, great. Well, here's the thing. You scroll down and you go to page 2, you will find a Tumblr post in which he apologizes for committing heinous things towards his ex-partners, colleagues, and friends over the course, in his own words, over the course of 10 years.
Yeah, you gotta go to page 2 to find this one.
We're talking abuse, stalking, harassment, manipulation, you name it. And it's all self-admitted by himself. This used to be on the first.
You want to know something? You want to know something? You know, he looks like the one YouTuber that used to be friends with Peanut Butter Gamer, Pro Jared, Pro Jar, Pro. He looks like Pro Jared or whatever his name was. He literally looks like him. Oh my god, this is so weird. in this specific screenshot right here, it kind of looks like him, to be honest, because I think if I remember correctly, he had long hair specifically like this too. Man, dude.
Page of Google. I'm not even joking, but it got replaced because of this Reddit post. And this leads me to the other aspect of this mess, which is such an implosion. The case of Chris is special because in this case, we have two high-profile voice actors from Honkai Star Rail and from the English dubbing community, and they both have come out to talk about this while having completely differing opinions.
Hey, Sal.
One day after the announcement
What
of
do
the
you mean
character,
big?
a very well-renowned voice actor by the name of Alejandro Saab, aka Sayu, which is his VTuber persona, said that he just got back on Twitter and that he was going to have a serious talk on stream regarding this. It was very emotional, and he even ended up breaking down crying over this. I thought this was going to be the peak. It wasn't going to get worse than this. Guess what? The voice actor for Sunday, someone you definitely know if you played Honkai Star Rail, and who doesn't use social media and stays off of Twitter except for professional reasons, made a Reddit post on r/Honkai.
Wait, he made a fucking Reddit post? Wait, does he read it? Does he read it this? No, I'm gonna read it right here. Hold on, let me see. Hi, my name is Griffin Poitou. I'm the English voice actor of Sunday in Honkai Star Rail. I wanted to make this post here regarding to Chris Niosi situation. Back in 2019, ex-girlfriends and former friends of Chris accused him of sexual, emotional abuse, and more. Those accusations were responded to by Chris, who owned up to and apologized for the things he actually did, while also correcting the record for what he did not do. The criminal charges have ever been no criminal charges have ever been brought against him, and over the past 5 years, Chris has struggled to improve himself and right those wrongs, while slowly trying to regain his ability to work again. During that time, Chris has earned the support of many of his colleagues, both privately and publicly. He has been hired by multiple studios for work in between then and now, and after facing consequences, firing and blacklist for what he did. The reason why is that many of us had front row seats to everything that happened. And now that Chris has apologized, changed, and grown, we are happy that he is working again and gets to pursue his a living for himself in the industry that he loves dearly. Man, I love the fucking VA industry, but you don't see me abusing people, shit, or emotionally abusing people, or any sexual shit, you know? Shit, man, fuck. If the people hurt by Chris believe he is undeserving of forgiveness, or that he hasn't changed at all, then that's on them. Some of those people forgave him, some didn't. They have, of course some people haven't, of course. They have every right to feel however they feel, but that doesn't make it true, and it certainly doesn't give them the right to dictate whether or not Chris ever gets to work again. No, he should, dude. What? If your views is that no amount of change or apology is enough to forgive someone who's wronged you, and that you have the power to decide whether or not whether or not that individual gets to earn a living or not, then you're an unreasonable person, bro. Like, this person, like, what accused of sexual, I would assume, sexual assault and fucking emotional abuse and shit like that, and more. Apparently more, he did more. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro. Like, how long has he been doing this for? Was he doing this for, like, I don't know, like, what, a year, 2 years, 6 months, 1 month, 5 minutes? How long are we talking about the severity? Was he doing this for like 5 minutes or something? Or was he doing this for like 10 minutes, 2 hours, 22 years, 5 years? You know, give me the details. I need to know the details. You got to tell me all this stuff, you know? So those of us who have watched his journey from cancellation to growth. Wait, so he was canceled before, but then he got a redemption arc? Damn, might as well bring in fucking EDP. Give him a redemption arc, you know? Give fucking Mini Lad a fucking redemption arc too, man. Give Dr. Disrespect a redemption arc, I guess. I guess we're just giving everyone a redemption arc, I guess, for the shenanigans I guess they do now these days. Interesting. All right, everyone gets one redemption arc, okay? Everybody gets one redemption arc, okay? So whatever happened with the Chris Tyson thing, you know, he has one more redemption, okay? He's getting a redemption, okay? All right, guys, all right? He'll be back, you know, he'll be back making videos with Mr. Beast in the future. You see how that sounds so fucking ludicrous? Jesus fucking. We believe in him. Wow, believing sure is something, to be honest. This is so emotional shit, to be honest. Well, we've seen him change. We watched him take all the right steps, not knowing if it would make a difference or get him his career back. Dude, he literally lost his career and then he managed to fucking get it. I will skip forward to the villain arc. We watched him to take all the right steps, but because it was the right thing to do during the time, he's been hired back for roles at multiple studios, while other voice actors who have faced cancellation have not. Why? Because his situation is different from theirs and warranted welcoming him back? What the what the fuck am I reading? My hope and voice support for Chris is to broaden the discussion and provide another side of this to the story. You didn't provide shit. You didn't provide nothing. Right now, Twitter and X is drowning in negativity with death threats. You didn't bring any proof that he was that he did not do any of these things on the record. Because you're saying he was correcting the record of what he did not do. Okay, then tell me what he did not do. But you didn't tell me shit in this godforsaken post that you did. You didn't show anything. You didn't show no screenshots. You didn't show no videos. You didn't show nothing. To be honest, you literally didn't show anything. I just don't understand specifically. And the dreaded negativity with the death threats and call for his firing running rampant. This type of toxic discord is why I can't tell something the platform back in 2023 and no longer post there. I keep an account to respond to casting calls and auditions for my job, but I refuse and add fuel to the fire or something like that. If people can be screwed out of work over fake stuff, I really don't see why a person who admits to doing actual bad things wouldn't be refused. Like, you admit to doing bad, nothing much to expand on. Yeah, it says right here, right? It literally says right there, here, you know, that he actually did some of these things. So, what are the things? Because he apparently owned up to it and apologized for the things that he actually did. So it still doesn't matter, right? He did some of the sexual stuff. He did some of the emotional abuse and whatever other shit that happened too on top of that. So it's just kind of like, jeez.
Okay, Star Rail talking about this exact controversy. This post is currently sitting at 1,400 upvotes. It used to be higher, but it's been getting downvoted. And it was the first time many people were even hearing of this, okay? This is very serious because unlike the whole Diluc voice actor accusations, where there were holes in the story and many people found it hard to make up their opinion on it unless more proof came out.
Yeah, that's true. Then there needs to be more proof on that specific thing, you know. But I still have to say it's so fucking weird though. At the end of the day, why are you on the furry site, bro? Like, come on, dude. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of the furry thing. Okay, if you're a furry, that's fine. But I think it's me personally. I think it's weird. You know, this dude is on a 18+ furry website. You know, and I've been hearing a lot of things that, like, you know, what a bunch of in the furry community that they have a, you know, with animals, you know. I'm just saying, you know, so there's been a lot of that. So
this right here is so different because Chris himself had made a post admitting to everything in his own words, and it is slowly making the entire community implode within itself. Let's talk about it. Christopher Edwin Niosi, otherwise known as Kirbopher online, is an accomplished voice actor, and he was in some pretty high-profile roles.
Dude, he was in fucking Mob Psycho, Tales of Zestiria. He was in a Pokemon series. He was also an Octopath. Oh god, Sailor Moon. Oh shit.
Like Arataka Reagan from Mob Psycho 100. Additionally, he voiced
Granted, I don't watch English VA. You know, I don't watch ENVA stuff. He was in Ace Combat? What the fuck? Fairy Tail, Fire Emblem.
the main character in Fire Emblem Three Houses under Nintendo and had many other.
Oh, the male character. Oh, wow. Okay. It's Disgaea, History of Trunks, Naruto Shippuden, Tenji.
High-profile roles like Final Fantasy VII, Naruto
What the fuck? He was in Asterix War? What the hell, dude?
Shippuden, etc. He was an accomplished voice actor by all means. However,
Yo, man, bro, are you just like letting anyone be a voice actor, voice actress these days? Man, shit, man, make me, hey, man, make me a fucking voice actress, man. Shit, if you're letting this guy who has a fucking redemption arc or so that did like bad stuff in the past or so, man, shit, man, I'm fuck, man. Well, why don't you let me, man? Let me get in there. Let me get in the ringer and do some voice acting shit. Fucking. God
all
damn,
of that
dude.
came crashing down in 2019 when Chris was 30 years old. Overnight, many of his high-profile roles were immediately replaced with other voice actors, and he was pretty much excommunicated from the industry.
Wow, I see. Voice actors get jobs through connections. They're serious every institution in their hiring process. Oh, I see. They're insidious. Well, I might as well give it a try anyway, so it doesn't hurt to try because I do have a very unique voice at the end of the day when it comes to voice acting. Wow, it's nice to meet you. You know, so yeah. We got his redemption arc alongside the roles he played, yeah, the English ones. I'm like, my childhood is ruined. You and me are nothing but animals, so let's do it like they do it. And it's, no, please no, please no, please no. No, no, no.
This was a very big deal in the voice acting community. Nintendo didn't want to work with him anymore because he showed off the fact that he got cast in Fire Emblem in his Discord when he wasn't supposed to. But all the other roles he lost weren't because of that. They were because of a way more concerning problem. The real trigger for this entire controversy. But what has the ability to make someone as skilled as Chris to lose?
That's okay, you know. I'll do some of the other projects that other people aren't doing for voice acting. So, you need a mommy? I got you, bro. You need a bad villain mom? I got you right here too. You need like a leader type character? I got you right here too as well. Shit, man.
On all these roles overnight? Well, it all started on Tumblr. Zero Incorporated made this post with the title, Chris Kirbopher Niosi is an emotionally abusive asshole. On July 16th, 2019.
Yeah, that's pretty much everywhere. Jobs, you get connections, you know. Jobs, you always need connections in order for you to get your foot into the door, so for anything, so. You don't want to voice parents for a Fire Emblem? What are you talking about, parents? There is a high chance you end up dead. Okay.
19. And this was, with no exaggeration, the beginning of the end for Chris, his career.
Let me see. So Chris Kirbopher Niosi is an emotionally abusive asshole. Chris Niosi is an abusive and people need to know the truth about him. My name is Amy and I am hopefully his last ex-girlfriend. I dated him from September 2017 to April 2019. And it was a miserable experience to say the least. I try to be open-minded person with an even more open heart, but that was a waste of effort because this man is a piece of shit. Holy shit, goddamn. And it is entirely his choice to be one. I knew that Chris Niosi for several years, but I'm not going into the full history of our relationship. What matters is how he treats women behind closed doors and that he shouldn't be able to keep getting away with it. Overall, he was a shitty boyfriend, but sucking at dating isn't a crime. So I'm going to talk about the things people deserve to know about. Chris Niosi was has obvious anger management problems and would snap and blow up at the smallest things. Why the fuck would you get so mad over the smallest thing? I just don't understand. For me, it takes a lot to get me upset, to be honest. It really takes a lot for me to get upset. I am so fucking calm because it's just the way how I was raised. So, you know, so He would tell me that's just how I am and that I needed to deal with it. I hated playing Smash with him because I would win most of the time and he would rage and scream at the top of his lungs. Near the end of our relationship, I was fearful of his meltdowns every day. It's kind of weird to be raging and screaming from well, I don't mind like as long as if you're with your partner or something, you just start shit talking to each other, that's fine, right? Because you're both shit talking to each other specifically, right? In a very fun, joking manner, right? But like if he's the only one that's doing it, right? He's like raging and screaming and getting upset, getting butthurt because he's getting his ass handed to himself in fucking Smash in all games, just Smash, you might wanna take it easy. This feels like it's someone who played like Call of Duty or something, He sounds like a Call of Duty player and never got out of the phase of the Call of Duty and always getting angry, I want him to play Elden Ring now. Yeah, I want to see how crazy his rages are, We got to check this out, Someone who's a gamer or so, right? We got to see the rages, He would try to manipulate me whenever I told him I had an issue with his behavior. I would tell him things like, I have to walk on eggshells around you. And he would turn it around and say, but I'm walking on eggshells around you. What the fuck? Yeah, this is so fucking weird. You try to make me out to be the bad guy. He always tried to avoid taking responsibility for shitty things he's done. Chris Niosi has no respect for my bodily autonomy. Autonomy? I don't even know what the fuck that is. I have a full-time job and I have come home from work. My only request was that I want to relax or something like that.
And his reputation. Let's read. Chris Niosi is abusive and people need to know the truth about him. My name is Amy and I am, hopefully, his last ex-girlfriend. I dated him from September 2017 to April 2019 and it was a miserable experience to say the least. I try to be an open-minded person with an even more open heart, but that was a waste of effort because this man is a piece of shit, and it is entirely his choice to be one. I knew Chris Niosi for several years, but I'm not going into the full history of our relationship. What matters is how he treats women behind closed doors and that he shouldn't be able to keep getting away with it. Overall, he was a shitty boyfriend, but sucking at dating isn't a crime, so I'm only going to talk about the things people deserve to know about him. She's pretty much saying like, yeah, dude, listen, he does suck at dating, all right? This is a fact, but it shouldn't be enough of a reason to hate him. So let me say what the things he actually
It's because it's YouTube, that's why.
All right, let's get into it. So, number one, Chris Niosi has obvious anger management.
Man is more angry than a Rajang.
Problems and would snap and blow up at the smallest things. He would tell me that's just how I am. And that
he just goes fucking full monkey and shit
with it. I hated playing Smash with him because I would win most of the time and he would rage and scream at the top of his lungs. Near the end of our relationship, I was fearful of his meltdowns every day. Point 2. He would try to manipulate me whenever I told him I had an issue with his behavior. I would tell him things like, I have to walk on eggshells around you, and he would turn it around and say, but I'm walking on eggshells around you, to try to make me out to be the bad guy. He always tried to avoid taking responsibility for shitty things he's done. Point 3. Chris Niosi had no respect for my bodily autonomy. I have a full-time job, and when I came home from work, my only request was that he wouldn't jump on me the second I walked in. All I wanted was a little time to decompress from the day and get a shower, but he would grope me every single day despite my protest. I told him to please not do that many times. He would pout and argue and continue doing it anyway.
So she had an issue of her boyfriend groping her? No, they're in a relationship. They're in a relationship together, you know? How do I feel about that? because it's different. It's different, you know. It's different with every relationship, right? There are some girls who do like that, right? They either like a spanking, you know, or you know whatever it is, you know, and all that other stuff, right? It, you know, the girl will, you know, the girlfriend will do it to the guy, and then the guy will do it to the girlfriend, you know, and then you know sometimes they'll do that. Sometimes the girl will grope the guy's, you know, or grab the guy's dick, you know, and maybe you know, the guy. I've seen it. I've seen it before, you know. So it just kind of really depends on the relationship. I don't know. For me personally, it's kind of like it's a little bit of a gray zone there, you know. If your partner's okay with it, then yeah, you know, there's no problem at all. But if your partner's not cool with it, you know, then yeah, of course, you know, as long as you set like guidelines or something. But I don't know. For me personally, like, because I've been in relationships before, right? I think it's personally weird or so. I don't know, you know. I don't know. I don't know. You know. I ain't risking that shit. But you're like in a relationship though. Like that's the difference. Like if this was your roommate, yeah, that would be fucking like what the fuck, you know? But they're in a relationship. And they've been in a relationship for a couple years. So when does this started? Did this started at the beginning of the relationship? If this started at the beginning of the relationship, you know, then yeah, of course I don't condone to it. But if it's like what, 1 year into the relationship, you know, I think you should have enough time to know about the person, like how they are specifically, you know? So I don't know. I don't know. That one I'm just kind of like 50-50 on that one. That one is I'm just kind of like you know. It's because like there's actually like because like in my Hispanic heritage or so, you know, there are, you know, there's some guys that do that or so with females, you know. So and then the females do it with the guys, you know. There's some, not all. All right, let me get this straight for you guys, because I know there's some people who like to twist my words and be like, "Oh, she's saying it's all everybody." No, it's some. Okay, there are some people who like it. Okay, there's some people who do who like the little sexual touch and stuff like that, you know. It's a thing, you know. So I don't know about the beginning. I don't know. Like I said, it just kind of really depends, to be honest. I assume like, yeah, I assume this is like probably like a year into the relationship or something, and it's kind of like losing itself because, you know, he's like raging, he's screaming, and then like making you feel like the bad person and everything like that. I can kind of see that, you know, later on, but I don't know. I'm just gonna, number three. I'm just gonna say each to their own. That's all I'm gonna say. It's each to their own. Everybody's different, you know, with relationship stuff. You know, there's some are very more sexual and very touchy, you know, while others are not. You know, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of like your spectrum. You know, it's like, where do you want to be on the spectrum at the end of the day? You know, do you want to be over here or do you want to be over there? It's just kind of like each to their own. Okay. Holding hands is only allowed after marriage. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, because I've gotten my ass spanked, you know, and I've spanked ass too as well. So in return, so it's just kind of like, you know, I've gotten that before. So
Point 4. Chris Niosi lied to me twice about how often he was communicating with his ex-girlfriend. I never had a problem with their friendship to begin with, and he told me, without any questioning on my part, that they only talked once a month. I eventually found out that was a bold-faced lie, and he was speaking to her every single day of our relationship. He claimed he didn't realize how often he was talking to her. Who would believe such nonsense? He was intentionally hiding this from me, and also probably her. I believe she was not aware of what he was doing either.
okay, that's a bit weird in my personal opinion. I'm gonna be honest with you. Why the fuck are you talking to your ex-girlfriend? Like, just why? Why? That's so weird. I don't know, man. That's
Point 5. I asked him to set boundaries with his ex, and he battled me so much that I asked him to cut contact completely. He fought tooth and nail to keep talking to her despite how much this shit was damaging me, and he even called me the unreasonable one. She contacted him one day out of the blue, and he came to my office to take me out to lunch, only to keep me hostage in front of my office building that I must give him my blessing to respond to her. He refused to take no as an answer and was shouting at me. I felt forced to say yes, even though I truly did not want to, or else he would continue making a scene in front of my workplace. Wow, dude, okay. Point 6.
What the fuck? Okay, that's weird, man. That's weird.
He complained anytime I wanted some time to myself. He gets so much more free time than me, and whenever I wanted some damn space, he would constantly try to butt in and gripe that I'm not spending time with him. I explained to him several times that I should be allowed to have just a tiny ounce of solitude, never listened. He was also jealous of my friends and would whine anytime I wanted to hang out with them without him. According to Chris, my world had to absolutely revolve around him and never deviate.
Oh man, dude. Come on. Like so far only one is kind of like 50-50 for me, and then like the rest is kind of like Jesus Christ. Like like come on, dude. It's just like, really?
Point 7. He once physically manhandled me in front of my friends at a get-together because I wanted to get a drink. I stood up and he forcefully pushed me back down and scolded me in full view of my friends. I was extremely embarrassed.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the hell?
Point 8. Chris Niosi made it extremely difficult for me to get to know his friends. I clicked with some of them, and others I needed more time to hit things off. But that was a problem for Chris. He would argue with me every time we came home from seeing his friends that I wasn't trying hard enough and not talking enough. So many arguments. I could not for the life of me understand why he got so upset that I didn't meet his bizarre standards for communicating with his friends. It made every encounter with them more and more stressful to the point that I was too afraid to see them anymore. They did nothing wrong. This was entirely on him.
What? What? What the hell? Dude, what is that? That just okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. I guess there's some kind of sort of standard or so with this guy or so when it comes to knowing his friends, I guess.
Point 9. Worst of all, Chris Niosi was planning to sexually take advantage of me when I was very intoxicated on my birthday last year. He even tried to tell a friend that he had implied permission from me when confronted about it, which is absolutely not true. That only gave me confirmation he knew exactly what he was doing. Thankfully, I was aware at the time to tell him to back off, but it disturbs me to this day that he saw me being drunk on my birthday as an opportunity.
Was this like early in the relationship or so? Because that's pretty messed up, I'm not gonna lie, to be honest. Like that's pretty messed up. Because like you guys are in a relationship, right? You guys are in a relationship for a couple of years, right? So like if this was like super early or so, right? If this was like what do I say, like what, 5 months in the relationship, then yeah, that's pretty. I don't know how this day and age how they do things now these days, but usually in ye old times it would take a while or so to form a bond with you know, with the other sex or so, and you know, and then you start doing the whole feely touchy kind of type of thing, you know. So yeah, no worries, uncle. So yeah, so this one is kind of like, you know, yeah, it is kind of weird or so, but at the end of the day, right, you're in a relationship with them, and I assume you two already kind of already did it. So you know, I don't know, this one's kind of like it can go either way, you know. This one can go either way, like I said, because they said they were in a relationship since what, 2017 to 2019. Yeah, it's like roughly like 2 years or so. Yeah, there are a little bit like
Chris Niosi is a bad person and he knows it. He would tell me he was just simply oblivious to all his wrongdoings, but I refuse to believe it. He doesn't get to claim ignorance and abuse women. Everything was intentional. I decided I had enough and moved on, and he tried every trick in the book to manipulate me into staying. And after I broke up with him, he couldn't even respect me enough to give me distance. He was aggressive about taking me out to dinner and asked me out at least 3 times in the week after I dumped him. And he also...
Okay, that's fucking weird though. Yo, man, that's like weird psycho behavior, to be honest. 3 times, 3 times in the week, man? Are you serious? After you broke up with her? Man, dude, that's fucking weird, man.
So had the audacity to ask me to be friends with benefits.
Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. Sure. Sure.
Oh my god. No respect, no remorse. He knew exactly what he was doing at every turn. He chooses to be an asshole and will continue to do so until he dies. This man will never change. It's who he is, and he clearly prefers it that way. She then ends this statement by saying this: I have absolutely no reason to make this up. None. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just maybe consider the many words of many people when they say Chris Kirbopher Niosi is an abusive man who will continue to use and abuse other people. He needs to come clean about all the horrible things he has done. To those who want to give him another chance and hope to see him better himself, I sincerely wish you the best. I know I tried. Thank you for reading.
Like, it's so weird how there's like with a touchy feeling, like it's like that's on the people in the that's on the people in the relationship, but then other stuff are like straight up from 0 to 100 for no reason. Everything goes from calm to crazy so quick. Yeah, but like the number 9 one, right? The number 9 one specifically, right? That one's kind of like, also, it just kind of really depends, really, you know, because like sometimes, sometimes, you know, when you're in a relationship with someone and, you know, your partner drinks or so, you know, sometimes it can get pretty sexual between the two of them and stuff like that. So it just kind of really depends, you know. So like I said, it just depends on the relationship, right? Depending who you're dating with, how they are, you know, what they think, you know, it's just kind of each to their own. It's the same thing with number 3 or so, right? The touchy thing, you know, it's kind of each to their fucking own, you know. Everyone's different, you know. The other ones are fucking crazy. I'll be honest with you, the other bullet points are fucking wild, to be honest. But those 2 are just kind of like, it just kind of really depends, like who you're dating, you know, at the end of the day, you know. Because there are some, you know, I have some female friends who are very, very touchy to their male partners, and then I know some male friends or so who are also touchy to their female partners, you know. So it just kind of really just depends. That's it. It just really depends. That's all, you know. Each to their own. That's all I have to say. It's just each to their own.
Yeah, that's a lot to take in, right? See, this is why these things are so nasty, because you're pretty much being pushed into a private relationship of 2 people and are seeing all the ugly things that happen there. But granted, this isn't enough to take someone down. Not anymore.
Oh yeah, I'm curious what his redemption arc was.
Or at least. People these days require more proof than just he said, she said. This is why many people chose to not believe the person accusing the Diluc voice actor of committing the things they were accusing them of. There have been too many cases in the last few years where someone claims something and gets proven wrong, even after having done so much damage to the person they're accusing. And let's be real here, who in 2019 would have seen this Tumblr post? Who even uses Tumblr anymore? This wasn't gonna end his career out.
Yeah, that's true. Who uses Tumblr these days? Come on, man, everyone uses Twitter. Just post it on Twitter.
Right. What changes everything here, though, as I mentioned before, is the fact that he admitted to all this. The next day, he just came clean. Chris made this post on his Kirbopher account, saying, "It's time that I apologize to all of the people I've hurt." Bear in mind, this post got deleted, right? The only reason you can see it is because it was reblogged by Ultra Eric the Red. And ironically, what shows up on Google on the second page is actually the repost from Eric the Red, right? Like,
oh, that's interesting.
The post itself, if you copy the link and were to go to it, it says it's gone, and it just links you back to Kirbopher's profile. I don't know when he deleted it specifically, but all I know
You can probably use the Wayback Machine for it, so.
is that you can't find it anymore on his profile. So thank you to Ultra Eric the Red for preserving this piece of evidence. This is a long post, but it's very important for you to understand every word in here because this is why people are mad. This is why people are very furious at HOYOVERSE to have cast him even after 5 years. This is him admitting that
It's not, you should not be getting angry at HOYOVERSE. You should be getting angry at the Ian side of the agency who hired him. That's who you should be pointing fingers at. HOYOVERSE is a fucking Chinese company who just makes the game, you know? That's it. They just make the game. The agencies who give voices to the games are the ones who are held responsible, who they hire specifically. So, you know, as HOYOVERSE, who is a Chinese company, right? That they're over there, right? Specifically over there. I think they're more important to look at the Chinese side of actors compared to, you know, the EN branch of actors. I don't think they're gonna sit there and look at which fucking ENVA is gonna be good and which one is gonna be not, you know, because that's not how it works, you know.
that he has been a horrible person, not just to Amy, but many other people. He also makes it worse for himself with crazy statements like the first sentence. Let's read. My name is Christopher Niosi, also known as Kirbopher. I am 30 years old, and for about half my life...
Wait, what the fuck? He's 30 years old during that time? What the fuck? Interesting.
Lifetime, I have horribly mistreated and abused friends, colleagues, and even my significant others. It is time that I addressed each and every one of those people and responded to their feelings with individual apologies for what I've done to hurt them. This will be a master post containing all of the appropriate posts in one location so that the people they have been written for, along with anyone else who wishes to read them, can easily access the information. I will provide a foreword about everything. My most recent ex-girlfriend Amy and I broke up in April of this year. She decided to cut ties in May, shortly after. Finally, on Saturday of this past weekend, she decided to create a call-out post detailing the emotionally abusive things I did to her throughout our relationship. I decided that the right thing to do was to take responsibility for my actions and respond publicly. I took 2 full days to write an apology to Amy for all of the things I've done and posted it on Monday night. The following morning, I was besieged by Amy, many concerned people who left comments of their own, as well as several of the victims of my abusive behavior in the past, to come clean and apologize to everyone I've hurt. I have finally decided to do so. Before reading any of these, I ask that to anyone and everyone who sees this, including those I'm apologizing to please allow me to put some things out there that are likely to come off as selfish, I feel are very important. I know that my decision to do this is inherently going to come off as a PR stunt or some form of damage control. While I can understand why people will think this, I want to assure you that it is not. This is not an attempt to preserve my career or livelihood or my social standings with anybody. I have accepted that by talking about all of these things, my life is going to change and there will be consequences. More importantly, this is not an expectance of any form of forgiveness either, as I will be stating many times in several of these apologies that I do not expect any of the following people to forgive me for all I've done. This is about finally, for possibly the first time in my life, doing the right thing. It may also, for the first time in my life, be the first real step I'm taking to change, to become a better person. Guys, bear in mind, this is someone who's 30 years old, okay? These statements are coming from someone who's...
Yeah, that's what yeah, 30 years old, man. This is not a young kid. This is a very, like, this is like back then. This was like what, in 2017 or 2019 or so? How old are they now? They're like 35. They're like 35 years old roughly now. So
who's not 20, he is 30 years old, right? You realize how huge this is, right? For someone to say, this is the first time in my life where I'm doing the right thing. And no one forced him to do that. His ex Amy in her statement, everyone who's come out against him over the years, no one has forced him to utter the sentence. It's such a crazy thing to say.
Hey, Hollow.
Anyway, he continues. Most of the people I have written these apologies to have had call-out posts regarding their personal negative experiences with me for the last several years, and they have gone publicly unaddressed by me. I also state multiple times in these apologies that I understand full well my choosing to respond to them now as opposed to when they were first posted is far too late and long overdue. There is no denying or excusing that fact, but here, now, I genuinely want to make amends for all of the horrible things I have done. I'm going to share something sensitive that is related to my decision to do this. Just as this is not intended to be a PR stunt, what I'm about to say is not in any way fabricated, nor is it meant to manipulate readers or instill any kind of bias. It is simply the truth and I feel is relevant. I have only ever experienced 2 times where I felt legitimately suicidal. The first time was 5 years ago, the week I moved to California, not knowing how to handle the shock of seeing call-out posts directed towards me, thinking my life was over and that there would be no way to survive, and that I should die as penance. So as I already mentioned, and as he mentions here for the first time, his ex-girlfriend wasn't the first post calling him out and seeking to expose who he was to the public. If he had chosen to ignore her post just like he had ignored all the other posts, then I don't think his career would have really been endangered. But it was too late for that now. He then continues, I survived it with the support of friends, but then I chose never to address the things that were said about me. They were people that were once my friends, significant others, people I looked up to, people who looked up to me, and all this time I stayed silent. However, the second time I felt suicidal was this past Monday night, a few hours before posting my apology to Amy. I had become so internally conflicted about if it was really the right thing to do or not. This time, not because of concern for it ruining my life, but because I wanted so badly to make amends and I didn't know if this would even be good enough. That if it was truly sign of me wanting to actually change for real. The pressure was a feeling I have never experienced in my entire life and I will never forget it. I overcame this feeling and solidified my decision with 100% certainty. I needed to speak from my heart, so I seized this newfound resolve and I went ahead and posted it. Please understand, the reason I'm sharing this information about my mental state is not in any way to garner sympathy or pity or appear as a victim. I am not the victim, I am the offender. I am sharing this information about the 2 moments I felt suicidal to illustrate that, while I haven't changed enough and it will absolutely not happen overnight, that the experience left a lasting impression on me that I am choosing to use in a positive way to really begin the change.
Huh, interesting. There's definitely one hell of a story. Like I don't even have words how to describe. I don't tell me about it. I'm just kind of here like listening to this. It's a pretty long post, that's why.
I have wanted to become a better person for what feels like my entire life. It's not something that should be such a struggle, but somehow I've made it the most difficult thing in the world. I may have learned and developed and improved in some aspects, but not enough. The damage I've caused and the abusive acts I've committed towards people that I cared about is evidence of that. If I want to be a decent human being, this is all only part of the first step. I have a lot more work to do that I plan on diving into after I finish moving to a new house, but that's not the focus of this point. The point is, this is it. Taking responsibility for all the things I've done is only the beginning. If this entire thing is still just part of the first step, I want to do it right, no matter what it takes. So then, he links all the individual apologies he has made to people who have come out.
Amy, the former girlfriend and employed editor. Tara Welker, former friend. Updated on 7/19 with additional apologies for unaddressed actions by the person's request. Audrey Kerr, former girlfriend and employed animator. Kaylin Denton, former friend and actor. Filthy Animal, interesting name. Former friend. John Markle, fellow animator and former fan. Updated on 7/19 with additional apologies for unaddressed actions by the person's request. Anthony Logato, former fan.
Talking about him and their terrible experience with him. Now, according to Twitter and many Tumblr comments, this is barely scraping the surface, but for the time being,
Of course it is. Of course it's just barely scratching the surface of it. Of course. Of course. You know, it's never that easy, right, chat? It's never that easy, right? There's always more. There's always more.
let's just pretend like these are all the people that he abused over the years, because I want to show you the variety here. Okay, so the first one's Amy, the person who made the post against him that we just finished reading, former girlfriend and employed editor. Then you have Tara Welker, former friend. Then you have Audrey Kerr, former girlfriend and employed animator. Then you have Kaylin Denton, former friend and actor. Filthy Animal, former friend. John Markle, fellow animator and former fan. And then you have another former fan, Anthony Logato. So these people ranged from anything of being an ex-partner to a co-worker to fans, right? And of course to friends. He then apologizes to his friends, his family, his fans, and says that he wants to use this space to cast an open call to anyone else that he's yet to address personally with a full apology. That he wants to do this until he makes amends with everyone he's affected over the years. And that he's not looking for forgiveness. He only hopes that he's taking the first true step to being a better person, and that he'll do his best to never let anyone else down or hurt anyone else he cares about ever again. So I have to mention this, right? Not only was this post deleted, I don't know when exactly, but it was deleted. Every single one of these individual apologies also have been deleted and don't exist anymore. For example, if I were to click on Amy's apology, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. But the internet does not forget. If I use the Wayback Machine, aka Web Archive, I can find every single one of these posts, and of course, every one of them is fairly lengthy. But for the sake of this video, I want to highlight one apology, right? You can check the other ones. I'm going to link them in the description, but I want to highlight one, which is the apology to his ex-girlfriend, the person who made the post we read initially, Amy. I think it's really important because it highlights who Chris is. He's going to do this whole apology, and then his ex-girlfriend will actually respond in a very brutal way to his apology, to which he'll reply again. He's
Oh, interesting.
gonna get cornered, and you'll get to see how he acts when he is cornered. Because in the end, it's gonna be up to you to decide. You already know the drill. Let's do this. He starts it off by saying, Amy, I failed you. No amount of apology I could ever give will ever make up for that. You were justified to leave me, and you were equally justified to cut ties with me. I was a terrible partner, and I made you feel awful. Thus, the absolute least I can do is to take full responsibility for my actions and respond
Plot
to your
thickens
feelings
indeed.
openly. I failed in treating you with real respect. You should not have had to put up with my childish temper day in and day out, and it's even worse than it made you fearful. It was never my intention to manipulate you, but that's no excuse. It was my fault you were made to feel this way. I should have taken more responsibility for my toxic behavior and changed. You did not, at any point, ever deserve to be treated that way, because none of it was your fault. He then continues, I failed in listening to you. I deeply regret this because I feel I could have avoided so many of these problems if I had just really, truly listened. But I didn't. I wasn't there for you.
Who knows when they deleted it? It would be kind of interesting to know. Probably the Wayback Machine can probably tell you when it got deleted or so.
At a time when you needed me for emotional support over something as insignificant as a party and a long drive. I'm ashamed to have left my own partner alone when she asked me to be there for her. I was immature and selfish in how I never gave you enough of the space or personal time you needed, all while constantly bombarding you with my attention-seeking nonsense. My needy pining for not only your physical but emotional affection was so disrespectful, and the way I would immaturely express myself about it was pathetic. Most of all, I couldn't even respect your one request of me to lay off you when you would get home from work. I was supposed to care for you, and ultimately I acted spoiled and self-serving, putting myself before you. I failed at keeping your trust, the most important thing to me, the thing that our friendship was founded on well before our relationship. I ignorantly betrayed it. I never intended to mislead or keep anything from you, but it doesn't matter because a lie is still a lie, and I understand full well how much that hurt you. Once again, I was selfish and placed several other people's importance before yours when you should have always been my number one priority. In addition, I could have and should have trusted you more in return. My jealousy and paranoia of your own life choices ran out of control. I should have been more supportive to the life you were forming for yourself and not been so obsessed with having you just be a part of my life and my friends and my world. I failed at making you feel loved. This is exemplary of my lack of respect, my lack of listening, and my lack of trust. I thrust you into a completely new environment out of your comfort zone, all the while thinking that I was helping you when in reality I was mounting utterly unnecessary pressure on you. I would embarrass you like a complete idiot in front of both your friends and mine. I wasn't patient or understanding. I was ignorant and unfair to you. The amount of needless arguments I sparked when I should have just been calm and inviting was ridiculous. This was entirely on me. I thought that inviting you into my life and everything that came with it would be a heaven, but instead all of my stupid actions made it into a nightmare. There is no excuse for the way I made you feel while you were living in what should have been a place of happiness. This is where it gets somewhat interesting because he's talking about one of the worst things in his ex-girlfriend's statement, which is him taking advantage of her while she was drunk. He says, there is one specific point that I wish to go into further detail on. Regarding what happened on your birthday, I never once believed I had any form of implied permission to do anything like that to you. Somehow this wasn't communicated properly, and I deeply apologize for that. I swear to you, I never thought that and never had any intention of doing such a thing. Even that aside, while I know I have done a lot of horrible things, especially to you, I also know that I did not and would never ever in my life try to sexually take advantage of anyone. But the fact that the takeaway from what I hoped was going to be a really special day for you is something as heinous as that, I have no words. I am so sorry that I somehow gave you the impression that I had such intentions, and I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. Listen, I don't know why, but this just makes me laugh. I don't know, like, am I twisted? Am I crazy? I'm so sorry that I somehow gave you the impression, right? Like, like, look, there needs to be proof at a certain point when you are making such a big accusation, but the fact that her perspective differs so much from his perspective in this regard is crazy, right? Like, it's not even on the same wavelength. From his perspective, there was nothing indicating this. From her perspective, it was very clear to her, and it was one of the main reasons why she ended up breaking up with him. It's just crazy sometimes how the two sides of the same story can be so different. We'll revisit this later when she replies. He then continues in the post and says, with all of that said, the thing I'm most upset about is the fact that the impression I left on you by the end of our time together is that I never really cared about you. That, more than anything, is why I failed you. I have no reason to blame you for feeling that way about me, and I'm deeply ashamed that I drove you to this. I couldn't even maintain what I genuinely wanted to be a close friendship, to just be someone who'd at least be a positive influence in your life, breaking your trust even further by asking something as ridiculous as if you wanted to be friends with benefits. But then failing further and further with every opportunity.
Yeah, let me just ask you, hey, do you want to be friends with benefits?
I had to be a friend to you. I can't believe I did this. Just as much as you can probably never forgive me for any of this, I too may never be able to forgive myself either. He continues to self-admit that even though it wasn't his intention, there is no obliviousness to claim here. And this is something he'll mention a lot, his intentions, right? It wasn't my intention to do this. It wasn't my intention to come off like this. Well, what were your real intentions though? That's the question, right?
We'll see what the plot twist is. This is the level of narcissist bullshit. Yeah.
Right? Anyway, he says, I knew what I was doing, but realized far too late the full impact of my actions had on you time and time again.
Oh, so he already knew. Okay, so he knew. He knew. Granted, he's a 30-year-old, right? And he said, "Oh, I just realized my actions." Interesting.
Prattled on and on with excuses and justifications about how I was always trying to improve and learn from the mistakes I made. I should have paid closer attention. I should have worked harder to fix the issues we had, especially when you gave me so many chances. But I failed. If I could have been able to tell all of this to you in person or over spoken word, I would have, but I respected your wishes of never speaking to you or interfering with your life again as you requested when you last contacted me. Yeah, because you asked her to be friends with benefits after she left you. I wanted to honor that request after seeing the results of my actions, since trying to fix it was out of the question at that point. But now that it's come to this is the absolute least I can do to start with, and I know full well it's not enough. If there's anything else I could ever do to make up for all I did to hurt you, I would do it in a heartbeat. I can only hope that now you can truly be happy. That's what you deserve. Almost at the end, guys. We almost made it. Good job. To everyone else who has now read both Amy's words and my response, I know I've let you all down. Again, an apology alone isn't good enough. Making amends for this requires serious change in me. I have to change. This is it. I have been going back to my therapist to try and work harder than ever at being a better person, a decent human being, so that something like this never happens to another person I love. Something so simple should not be such a struggle, but I've lost so many friends, colleagues, and even partners over awful behavior like this. The amount of relationships I've destroyed is living evidence that I absolutely need to do better. This is why I've chosen to own this and take responsibility. This is the right thing to do. I want, more than anything, to finally be a good person. Again, this is so weird coming from someone who's 30 years old. You know, I always have to do a double.
Hey man, you know, sometimes it doesn't kick in until you reach 30 years old, I guess. It just doesn't kick in, you know. It just doesn't kick in, you know. Sometimes there's some late bloomers, you know. There's just some late bloomers, you know.
Double take and be like, wait, how old is he again? He continues, I've tried and miserably failed with countless people to simply be a positive influence on others' lives, but I'm not going to run away. I'm going to keep trying, no matter what. It's been because of my own choices that I've been the person I am, but I cannot be the same person until the day I die. I need to continue forward and just be better.
He just got kicked
to anyone
down.
and everyone who took the time.
Hey, King.
To read through this. If you wish to disassociate with me, you are fully justified and I bear no ill will. I know there will be consequences for this and I accept them. If you wish to continue giving me another chance, then I will not waste your time asking for forgiveness or to wish me luck or offer any more meaningless apologies.
Hell no, I would not give this man. I would not give this man another chance whatsoever. Hell no. Hell no.
I promise I will keep doing my best to not let anyone else down again. Thank you, Chris Kirbopher, Niosi. This, of course, didn't go as smoothly as he had hoped. I'm sure he wanted to just make this apology and move on, but his ex wasn't just gonna let him get through this as easily as he thought. Amy replied, saying, I read your post. I read it at least 5 times, in fact, and I am not impressed. This is an apology for being a bad boyfriend, not an abusive boyfriend. Did you even notice that the words abusive or abuse don't even come up in your post? Of course you did. You're trying to pass this off as you being subpar at relationships and not the fact that you were emotionally abusive to me. You are dismissing the one thing people are concerned about. Claiming that what happened on my birthday was a miscommunication is a weak excuse. Very, very weak. If you really want to go there, I will remind you that on June 11th, 2018, after Sony's E3 conference, I was drunk and you wanted to have sex. We attempted and I decided that drunk sex wasn't for me and said that I didn't wish to try that again.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. She said it. She said it. So she tried it and she didn't like it and then she doesn't want to do it. So there it is right there. There's the plot twist right there. There it is.
That was a rule we established. Drunk sex is off the table, and yet, on my birthday later that year, you saw how intoxicated I was and thought you could try it anyway. Miscommunication? No, I don't think so. Holy.
There it is. That's what we needed. We needed stuff to see. I'd be like, you know, it's kind of 50-50 is like what I said, right? Specifically on that post, right? It can go either way, right? This is basically is what I needed to hear, you know? If you set guidelines and you told them, hey, I don't want to do drunk sex, you know? It's like same thing. It's like the same thing if like, what is it? Like most girls don't want to do anal, you know? So that's basically, it's just what it is. If you set the guidelines of not doing it, right? Then you just don't do it. That's it, you know?
Man, am I the only one who feels awkward when a public couple has beef online and exposes all their intimate secrets?
It's so weird. It's so weird, though. It's so weird to see this.
No? You do too? No way. We should be friends. Anyway. She then continues, not to mention you completely glossed over the part about how you kept me hostage in your car in front of my office building. Out of everything, that was honestly the most horrifying thing you did to me. You forced me to do something I didn't want to do. I was too afraid to leave the car and go back to work because I thought you would follow me out and scream at me the whole way for all my coworkers to see. You took advantage of me in a place that I had but no choice to give you what you want. Do you not understand how fucking wrong that is? Why didn't you talk about this in your apology? I guess you did something. You at least apologized for years of your extremely toxic behavior and acknowledged that you've hurt many people. I see that and recognize it, but I'm still not impressed. You are not taking full responsibility as you say you are. This reads like a post-messy breakup sob story.
Interesting. Interesting. What did you even say? Bro, it's like a common thing with females, bro. Like,
it is plain to see you are doing damage control and are hoping you can skate by this pitiful response you call an apology for your abusive behavior. This is exactly what I was.
It's pretty common, you know. So there's a lot of females who just don't want to do it in the butt, you know. That's why.
Afraid of. You are not going to change. You know the truth and are choosing to hide it, hoping you can just barely get out of this by the skin of your teeth. Is this really all you have to say? I wish you would not just apologize to me, but to all those you've hurt. Both you and I know who they are. You said that you would do anything to make it up to me. This is it. Please change my mind. So, holy shit, man, she dropped a nuke on his ass, right? His apology was completely rendered to ashes. His entire thing, everything he wrote, was now meaningless. And this is a good point. When you go back and read this, and then read what she had written here, all of a sudden you realize, wait a second, he didn't even mention half the things that occurred, and the ones he did mention, he definitely aimed to limit the details. So then surprisingly, instead of ignoring her, he chose to reply, and he's
decided to reply to her. Well, this is going to be interesting to hear.
Starts it off with, even in my wanting to set things right, I failed you yet again. I'm sorry. It's like, dude, you're 30 years old. What is this? What, a soap opera? A 15-year-old would write this. Come on, man, get to the point. He continues, I will be more explicit. You're right. This is not merely about being a bad partner. Regardless of my intentions, my reasoning, my explanations, it does not change the fact that I was emotionally abusive to you and left lasting damage on you. It haunts me that I did this to you. Okay. Progress.
Okay.
This is progress. He continues, I deeply apologize for not illustrating what I meant about your point regarding what I did during your birthday. Once again, I broke a boundary that you clearly set and I should have been aware of beyond a shadow of a doubt. I am mortified that I not only forgot the details of what happened, but that I ignorantly chose to not remember an important rule you had asked of me and made you incredibly uncomfortable and continue to destroy our trust. I am disgusted with myself over this particular point more than anything else, and I know that my apology I've presented so far has not been good enough, but if you believe nothing else, please believe me when I say, for all of the boundaries I've disrespected, ignored, and stomped on, I had no intentions of ever forcing myself onto you with or without any sort of implied permission. So again, he says, I had no intentions of ever forcing myself onto you. So what were your intentions? You know, like, help us understand, right? It's like you do something bad. You say you had no intentions. What were your intentions? What were you trying to do? Were you trying to tuck her into sleep or something? Like, what was your actual...
Yeah, man, he was trying to read her a bedtime story.
goal here? He doesn't specify. He then continues, I'm sorry as well for not delving further into what happened when we were in the car outside your office that day. I did not intend to leave out specific details, and I will take responsibility for that here. I didn't realize that this was even more terrifying to you than it already was. My own selfish emotions and the temper tantrum breakdown in which I begged like a spoiled brat about allowing me to do something you already weren't comfortable with is unforgivable. I unintentionally manipulated... Wait, what? Wait. Did he just say I unintentionally manipulated? Wait, what? Anyway, he says, I unintentionally manipulated you, took advantage of you, and abused you in your kindness and understanding because I couldn't keep my childish emotions and inconsistent moral compass I clung to under control. I know full well how wrong it was.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Unintentionally. Right. Right. Yeah. Like. Dude. Ay ay ay. Ay ay ay. It feels like the Genshin VA community is like the new Minecraft community. Fucking A. Jesus Christ. Oh my lord. All this manipulation, fucking emotional abuse, all this other shenanigans. Oh my goodness gracious me. That's crazy. Dude, this person is so childish. They were so Dude, how are you childish at the age of 30? That makes no sense. Like, honestly, for me, that makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Like, honestly, it's like, oh, I couldn't keep my childish emotions and inconsistent morale compass at the age of 30 years old while writing this out. Dude, what the fuck? What is wrong with you? Like, there's seriously something wrong with him. Like, something mentally fucked up inside of this dude. Seriously, like, no joke. Like, why? Dude, you're 30 fucking years old, bro. Like, God, man. God Lord. I've seen 30-year-olds that don't even act like this. Like, whatsoever. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Saying I unintentionally manipulated you is crazy. Then continues, I don't blame you for not being impressed. I knew that. Despite how much genuine thought and time I spent on trying to make this as real and sincere as possible to prove to you that I wanted to take responsibility for everything, that it probably still wouldn't be good enough and that you wouldn't forgive me. I don't hold any of this against you. At the very minimum, I appreciate the acknowledgement that I tried, but if the end result is still that I've come across as self-serving, then I will commit to making things better. I swear to you with every fiber of my being that this was not intended as a PR stunt or damage control of any kind. I know full well and have accepted that my desire to change myself means my life as I know it is going to change. I know this will affect my relationships, other people in my life who I care about, and possibly my career and livelihood. That is not my concern. My concern is to simply, for once, maybe even for the first time, just do the right thing. This is something he keeps referencing. He's 30 years old and he keeps saying over and over.
X gonna get more enraged. I'm predicting if she did respond again. I'll be interested to see.
How this is the first time in his life that he's doing the right thing. What have you been doing for the past 30 years, bro? Seriously, tell me, because I think we might be able to put you in jail.
No, I don't think it'll be the first 30 years. I think it'll be the first 10 years, right? Because you don't know when this started, right? Usually this stuff usually happens in like late teens or so, right? Of these kinds of weird, kind of like weird shit, right? It usually it'll start at the first relationship. I don't know if this was the first relationship or something like that, or whatever. But you have to go way back. You have to go way back where this has started. Then you count the years. You don't say your first 30 years, you know, because like, what is it, like the first 12 years or so of being a child or so, kind of doesn't really count in that nature. So
jail. Like, what do you mean? This is the first time. Oh, he continues. If I have not been explicit and open enough in all of this, I will reiterate. I was an emotionally abusive asshole to you, a person who I claim to love. I committed thoughtless and ignorant actions against you through our entire relationship, and I'm sorry beyond all imagination for how I made you feel. I want to share one last thing, and I know this has a risk of coming off as selfish. Oh boy, here we go. But I want to be completely openly honest about everything. I had legitimate thoughts of wanting to kill myself last night. Dude, come on. Oh my god.
that's manipulation right there, to be honest. You're like trying to make him feel bad, you know, because like, oh, I was thinking of killing myself last night in Minecraft or so because, you know, this whole entire thing kind of emotionally like scarred me and blah 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 blah.
Odd. Suicide is a very serious topic, okay? But here's the thing. In his initial apology, he highlighted how he wanted to end his life twice. And now he's highlighting how he wants to end his life again. It's like, dude, listen. At a certain point, it becomes ridiculous. It's like, what, are you gonna mention this in every post now, every time you're cornered? This really doesn't help his case. Here, let me give you an example real quick. Boogie2988 had a crazy fall from grace, right? He's one of the OG YouTubers. He's been in a lot of controversy, but recently he tweeted out a crypto scam, supporting it. CoffeeZilla, an investigative YouTuber, reached out to him, asking him, hey man, are you aware this is a scam? Why are you doing this? And Boogie said, well, it's because I have cancer. It then turned out that the cancer was fake. Surprise, surprise. He then got on a podcast with...
Come on, man. You can tell that he was faking that. Come on. I'm like rolling my eyes now. Like, ugh. Come on, man. Who actually believed that he actually had cancer? Come on, man.
Keemstar and a couple other people, and he got cornered. What happened then, you ask? Well, check this out. Near the end of the podcast, he felt so cornered that he left his chair, as you can see on the top left, that's him, and then makes his way back with a knife, threatening to hurt himself, okay? I don't know what this knife is. Is it a butter knife? I don't know, but that's what he did, making Keemstar leave the podcast. Was he actually gonna hurt himself? Absolutely not. Did he get the reaction he was looking for? Yes. The problem of all...
Jesus Christ, oh my god, what the fuck? I did not even know about that one, actually. I did not even know about that, the Boogie one. Oh my god. God, man, Boogie crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you. Boogie's freaking crazy.
Always saying you wanted to end your life. Look, it sucks, all right? And of course, I can empathize, but at the same time, you genuinely did not have to mention this again. But it just seems like your ex was cornering your ass over your apology, coming in with a vengeance, and you felt so cornered over the fact that it was a half apology on your end that you had to just mention this again. People are very well aware of the strength this phrase has, like, oh, I tried to end my life. Everyone all of a sudden takes a step back and is like, oh no, we don't want that to happen. Wait. Maybe we can figure it out another way. Maybe we were too harsh on him. Because look, the truth of the matter is, yes, I laughed when I read this, okay? If he were to actually end his life tomorrow, I would be seen as a horrible person. That's what they're banking on when they say things like this. The fear that if he were to actually do it, I would look terrible. So I have to believe him and lay off and not give him any consequences. But while I would not want him to end his life, or anyone for that matter, I still have to call this out and say that this was so unnecessary to mention. Like, why are you mentioning this? If not for pity points, why is this here? You know, when I first started making this video, I wanted to stay neutral, but dude, what's the point, man? What?
You can't really stay neutral on this. You really cannot. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mujin, but I had to call you out on that. You can't stay neutral on this one, okay? All right? I know that he has a lot of neutral takes or so, but like this one you can't really be neutral on this one, to be honest.
With things like this, what's the point? This is really stupid. 30-year-old man, by the way. Anyway, he continues, not because I wanted to take the easy way out or give up, but because I was so conflicted over if this was truly the right thing to do or not, and if it was actually a real sign of me wanting to change and be better. I needed to have a friend over to watch me, and I fully intend to see my therapist again soon to talk about all of my issues, my suicidal thoughts, my treatment of women in general, my temper, and my journey I need to continue on to finally be a decent human being. Again, I know this part of what I'm saying is about me and therefore to some extent selfish, but I swear this is about honesty and transparency about my intentions to set things right. Again, this whole paragraph, okay, you could delete it, it wouldn't matter, it wouldn't change anything, right?
That's very true. Yep.
Actually having this in your reply makes you look worse, like you're farming for pity, and as far as I can tell, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of these kinds of people who actually do this, to be honest. I actually have to side with Asmongold who do these kinds of things specifically, you know, using suicide or so to gain pity and sympathy or so, because you know we live in, you know, you guys live in a day and age or so where emotional people are, you know, you gotta grab emotional people to give you sympathy and all that stuff. So not really a huge fan. You know, if I'm gonna do an apology, I'm not gonna put like, oh, I was feeling very suicidal last night and I wanted to end game myself, you know, blah, 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 you know, so I'm never going to add that into an apology. Come on, man. I'll be honest with you, I'll take accountability if I did something wrong, you know, shit.
He continues, I'm going to apologize to all of the people I've hurt. I'm not expecting to change your mind in the process, nor is this solely for the sake of making it up to you alone. I will do whatever it takes to fix my mistakes. Thank you again for taking the time to read. So this whole thing was a roller coaster ride, right? And it prompted many people to see this and think, oh, this guy's a manipulator with the way he talks. He references the things that his ex-girlfriend is talking about in a very vague way, almost undermining them. And to many, this didn't really feel like an apology. Of course, in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't matter. What matters is what the victim thinks. And yeah, his ex-girlfriend, Amy, did not really see this as an apology. She saw this as very weak and that he could do way better. He then went on to apologize to other people, as I mentioned. I'm gonna sum those up real.
Man, people be using the game ending phrase, the game pity, while people who did game end themselves only ever got pity after they've already, yeah.
Really quickly in an effort to not have this video end up being 6 hours long, but I still want you to have somewhat of a full picture on the scale of this. Audrey Carr is one of his exes. He says he's been a terrible partner to them, an even worse friend, and he vaguely references the things he did, kind of similar to Amy, where he put a lot of stress and anxiety on her and didn't treat her with the love she treated him. Interestingly enough, this is someone who forgave him after their relationship, but then grew to distance themselves from him again because of actions he had done. Another person here was Kaylin Denton, someone who had stated previously that Chris should acknowledge his wrongdoings publicly. He apologizes for being extremely toxic, very unpleasant to be around, an absolute egomaniac, etc, etc. It's interesting because Kaylin actually responded to this. You can't see this here, but you can see this on this website. I don't even know what this is, but thank you to my viewer Vampish Mick who sent it to me. Otherwise, I would have never found it. What we can find here is Kaylin responding to this whole apology and saying, the fact that you had to unblock me for me to even be able to respond to this post should be a good indicator as to how this apology landed on my ears. He then says, thank you for apologizing to me, but I'm also a person who doesn't need an apology, not from you. I called you on all of this ages ago and I knew I was right then. Your confirmation of that fact now does little to impress. He then goes on to say that this was a first good step, but he had many things left to do to truly try and redeem himself. Saying, why were so few people included in your apologies? Where are your responses to the droves of people who you let defend you publicly when you stayed quiet in the wake of the callouts against you? This is referring to how people called him out in the past, he stayed silent, and let his fans bombard them online. And then says, if you want my honest opinion, which I have always given to you, it is that I think you're not sorry, but you're finally scared. I think that this is all done to keep your job. So overall, while he was thinking he was doing the right thing apologizing, they ended up doing way more harm to him and his reputation than good. He apologizes to a friend, Filthy Animal, who he hasn't talked to for over 10 years.
God damn, 10 years? Sheesh. God Lord. That's a long time, to be honest. That's a very, very long time.
For being insensitive, selfish, manipulating, and a bunch of other things, right? He then goes on to do the same thing with John Markle, Anthony Legato, and Tara Welker. Tara Welker in particular, he had a very lengthy history with. This honestly can be a separate fucking video by itself, but just know, even though he wrote this entire thing and then replied to her reply on Twitter, she still does not forgive him one bit and she hates his guts, all right? This whole thing was very significant. It was crazy, right? This dude had pretty much admitted many things that were a colossal nuclear bomb, right? The fact that he's 30 years old, saying that this is the first time he's doing the right thing in his life. The fact that he's done this for over a decade to colleagues, friends, ex-partners. You didn't need any proof. He was admitting it himself. No one hacked his computer. No one put him at gunpoint. He was writing all these things.
Damn,
and
dude.
honestly, they made him look way worse than the accusations. Who the hell says this?
Jesus Christ. Oh my God, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's just,
This is the first time I'm doing the right thing in my life when you're 30 years fucking old. It's just crazy. But regardless,
30
Chris did
years
still
old.
Try. According
It took him 10 years. It took, took him 13 years to realize when to act like an adult, you know? So
to himself and some of his coworkers in the industry. A bit more than a year later, on November 19th, 2020, he made this post saying, "Just want to share my final piece and then move forward. Over the last year or so, I have put my full focus into rehabilitating myself into a better person and more recently to heal the pain of the people I had hurt." He said that he participated in various emotional cognitive therapy programs, anger management, psychiatry, self-help books, and even medication, and he's confident that he is not the same person that he was before, that he can't undo his past mistakes, and that it's because of this newfound empathy that he has been able to better identify, acknowledge, and rectify these mistakes.
yeah, man. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
That he wants to take full responsibility to heal the pain of the people he had hurt and to validate their feelings, to listen, and to apologize. He then says that he recognizes that he contributed to the scale of the online scandal by publishing details of his personal matters. Oh yeah, he did. That he communicated reactively and emotionally and was at times even hyperbolic with his words. As a result, he says that he allowed the internet to distort the truth, which not only resulted in personal suffering, but created suffering for others related to the situation by extension. So here he feels the need to rectify this point, to really make it clear: I have never raped anyone, I have never beaten anyone, I have never stolen money or jobs from someone else. For all of the mistakes I've made, I am not a criminal, period. He ends it by saying, "I'm still working hard to improve. I am not who I was a year ago. I am capable of change. I am not beyond redemption. I am worthy of living. I am not going to give up. I am going to keep going." So some other voice actors that even I recognize came out in support of him, right? Saying things like, "I've seen how much you've changed and I'm so proud of the work you've put in." You know, Aiden Rudd, for example, is someone who voices Sam in Honkai Star Rail. Some of his fans are also very proud of
Interesting.
him, and some other people couldn't believe a single word he said. They still were against him, no matter what. You also had Zeno Robinson, who had voiced in some big productions as well, quote tweeting this saying, "Chris has been working incredibly hard to make amends, heal, and improve. I've watched him try to answer every single person he's hurt and really try to do better. He's definitely made huge mistakes, but maybe this can help clarify some things and help him start over." And I should mention too that one of the people that was in support of this was also Alejandro Saab, aka
What? What? Eh?
Sayu. The tweet isn't there anymore though, it was deleted. He explains that in his VOD, which we'll get to later. In any case, after this post, he slowly started making his comeback to the voice acting industry. While the online community wasn't fully convinced, it seemed that his coworkers and employers were. Now, is that because he told them the whole truth, or is that because he left some things out? I don't know, but he was making his comeback regardless. Looking at his
Interesting how Alejandro retracted his statement, you know? It's very interesting, huh? Very interesting, huh? VTuber slash voice actor, huh? Interesting, huh? Interesting.
his IMDb, ever since 2019, he's had minor roles for the most part. You know, he was an NPC in Genshin Impact in 2020, was in a few roles in 2021, but then truly made his comeback in 2022, right? So a couple of years ago, he was in a few animes, and then in 2023 was also in quite a few animes up until his big break, which was Honkai Star Rail. Guys, you have to understand, the reason why this is a very big deal is because many voice actors have actually made their entire careers over being in a HOYOVERSE game, whether it be...
That's very true. That's actually very true, to be honest. That's like usually the big heavy hitters are gonna be these like really, you know, some of the Hoyo games and Withering Waves and or whatever other shenanigans, you know. So it's like the big break, you know, or a very popular anime, like you get a major role in an anime, you know. So
Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, or now Zenless Zone Zero, these games are a very big deal. They have taken voice actors from being regular voice actors to public personalities, people who can stream, make YouTube videos, people with a following, celebrities. This is a very, very big deal. So after all these years in 2024, this signified his full comeback into the voice acting industry. But of course, as soon as that announcement was made, some people were starting to kind of question, wait a second, is that the same Chris Niosi I know? So news articles were made about him, referencing the things that we just saw, talking about them, but you know, with less detail. That's where I come in to give you the full story, baby. Hell yeah. This is where things get very nasty and very tricky. A day after Mose was announced for Honkai Star Rail, Sayu tweets out, just got back on Twitter, okay, series Mose was announced.
I know what this is about. I know what was your stance back then, so I'll be honest, I'm a bit scared to find out what you will say. We love you and good vibes. I pray you talk about this with the victims in mind. Interesting.
Announced for Honkai Star Rail, Sayu tweets out, just got back on Twitter, okay, series talk tomorrow on stream, love you guys. So around 14 minutes in his VOD titled The World Needs Tech Support, and yes, I do voice in Zenless Zone Zero, he starts talking about it, right? This is what he says.
Anyway. 4 years ago, I commented on a situation I didn't know about. Like some of you guys, I'd heard about some of the accusations about Chris in 2019. I knew he'd admitted they were true, and I knew he promised he'd do therapy, and I believed that. I believed him, and when he said to me he had apologized to the people who he wronged and had been forgiven. And I want to make this clear, the only people who can forgive or not forgive Chris are his victims. I can't forgive him for them. That's not how that works. Okay? But when I heard they had, and that they supported his growth, I thought, oh good. That's what I wanted my tweet to be. My encouragement to keep doing the work and trying to grow, if that's what had brought his victims some peace.
It's very interesting that the chat is it looks like it's on emotes only right now. Looks like it's only emotes only, so that's interesting. Nobody's saying anything in the over here on the right, so.
And great. I posted it, and then I didn't keep a close eye on the situation at all. I thought everything was fine. I thought it was okay. Until literally, like I said earlier, so many of you guys tagged me, and that's on me. I didn't know he hadn't spoken to many of the victims. I didn't know he hadn't been forgiven. I genuinely didn't know about half the things he'd been accused of, and again, that's on me for not doing my part and researching more, which is a pattern of mine, unfortunately. Ignorance is bliss, right? And look, I know we talk about how this is a space to escape from the real world and just have a good time. But at times, we gotta acknowledge the real world.
So that was what he had to say, right? He had come out in support of him seeking therapy and everything, especially like after his post in 2020. He had even made a tweet about it, but here's what he had to say about that.
You know? So, I deleted my tweet so it can't be used in any way. I'll be handling anything else going forward privately, but I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for breaking your trust.
Right, so I don't have to, thankfully, I don't have to do the web archive thing where I try to seek out one tweet he made in 2020. Look, he admitted it. He said he had made a tweet in support of him and he had deleted it so that no one uses it. I guess in a video like this.
No one uses it, you know, cause you know. Okay. Okay. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan of him because he also commented or so specifically on the HOYOVERSE, you know, about the new Notlin characters coming out, right? And you know, he was like with the side of people who were actually like thinking we're all black, basically, you know. So, because like, you know, their skins are not dark enough and whatnot. Apparently, they need to be more crispier. Apparently, with the skin tones. Okay, all right. You know, that's why I mean, personally, I'm just kind of like not a huge fan of Sayu, you know. So,
but again, as he mentioned, he didn't know about half the things that Chris had done. And this goes to show that maybe he had not told the full truth to some of his coworkers that do openly support him. In any case, he apologizes profusely to his community, and then around the 20-minute mark ends up breaking down crying, okay? I don't think it'll really help in any way to include this in my video, I'd rather not, but you can easily tell that this really got to him. And this sucks because Alejandro's position in general is something he didn't really ask for. He has been given the title of the voice actor spokesperson involuntarily just because he holds so much influence, right? 300,000 followers on Twitch, 200,000 followers on Twitter. Whenever a big problem happens, as I mentioned, people go to him first to ask him, right? When Elliot Gindi, the insane creep who was a Genshin voice actor, got outed and fired immediately, everyone went to Alejandro to ask him what he thinks. Whenever a controversy happens, everyone goes to him. This is no different. So
that's interesting. What the hell? Everyone goes straight to him? Interesting. Huh. Even I didn't know about that too as well. People acting like dark or skincare people fall under black. Apparently, no. The problem is like apparently we all have the same skin tone. Apparently, that's what they thought. So
that definitely gets to him sometimes. But he had told us his stance. He didn't know the whole truth, and he does not support anything Chris Niosi stands for. And while I thought that this was going to be one-sided, that everyone would all of a sudden turn around and go up against Chris, I was proven very wrong by this Reddit post that was made by Sunday's voice actor, a major character in Honkai Star Rail. This Reddit post was made on r/Honkai Star Rail and was titled English Voice Actor for Sunday Responds to Chris Niosi Controversy. Now, of course, this could be someone impersonating him, right? Because he is someone who doesn't really frequent the internet so much. But I verified the user, and he has done a verified AMA on r/anime dubs, right? This is actually his real account. Here's what he had to say. Hi, my name is Griffin Puatu. I'm the English voice actor for Sunday in HSR. I wanted to make a post here regarding the Chris Niosi situation. Back in 2019, ex-girlfriends and former friends of Chris accused him of sexual, emotional abuse, and more. Those accusations were responded to by Chris, who owned up to and apologized for the things he actually did, while also correcting the record for what he did not do. No criminal charges have ever been brought against him, and over the past 5 years, Chris has struggled to improve himself and right those wrongs, while slowly trying to regain his ability to work again. During that time, Chris has earned the support of many of his colleagues, both privately and publicly. He has been hired by multiple studios for work in between then and now, even after facing consequences, firings, and blacklists for what he did. He has been hired by multiple studios for work in between then and now, even after facing consequences, firings, and blacklists for what he did. The reason why? Many of us had front row seats to everything that happened, and know that Chris has apologized, changed, and grown. We are happy he is working again and gets to pursue a living for himself in an industry that he loves dearly. If the people hurt by Chris believe he is undeserving of forgiveness or that he hasn't changed at all, then that's on them. Some of those people forgave him, some didn't. They have every right to feel however they feel, but that doesn't make it true, and it certainly doesn't give them the right to dictate whether or not Chris ever gets to work again. If your view is that no amount of change or apology is enough to forgive someone who's wronged you, and that you have the power to decide whether or not the individual gets to earn a living or not, then you're an unreasonable person. Those of us who have watched his journey from cancellation to growth and redemption, we believe in him. We've seen him changed, we've watched him take all of the right steps. Now
Yeah, man, might as well do it for all the other ones who got basically canceled, you know?
Not knowing if it would make a difference or get him his career back, but because it was the right thing to do. During that time, he's been hired back for roles at multiple studios, while other voice actors who faced cancellation have not. Why? Because his situation is different from theirs and warranted welcoming him back. My hope in voicing
No, but they can redeem themselves. They can change, you know? They can have the redemption arc. They can grow, you know?
support for Chris is to broaden the discussion and provide another side to the story. Right now, Twitter/X is drowning in negativity, with death threats and calls for his firing running rampant. This type of toxic discourse is why I left the platform back in 2023 and no longer post there. I keep an account to respond to casting calls and auditions for my job, but I refuse to add fuel to the heaping trash fire that it is. I know posting this puts me at risk for the same sort of vitriol that Chris is facing right now. I don't care. I would rather stand up for my colleague than remain silent. I don't know if there's much more for me to say beyond this. I'm sorry if I do not respond to your comments. I have tried to be as thorough as possible with this post. Judge its validity for yourself. Thank you for being so supportive as a fan base up until now. I'm sorry if this changes your view of me, but I felt in my heart of hearts that this was the right thing to do. I hope you understand. When this was posted, guys, this blew the hell up, okay? This is... I can't state to you how big this blew up, okay? This was made 21 hours ago at the time of me recording this, okay? He has since edited this. We will get to this, but before he edited this, the comments were not what he was expecting. But most of them stated that they didn't even know who the voice actor was. How this was doing the opposite of what the poster had intended. This was actually bringing their attention to an issue that they didn't even know was an issue. Hoyo, after the Natland controversy, I got one more in me. I wanted to make a video about the Natland controversy, but this was definitely higher on the priority list, I think.
Yeah, the Natland thing is so stupid, to be honest.
Hi, Mr. Griffin. I'd like to just say that in most industries, it's considered wildly unprofessional to use a company platform as your personal soapbox, aka saying, hey guys, this is Sunday's voice actor speaking. If your secret purpose was to raise awareness and get people to stir shit against Chris, then good job, because it was definitely not something I knew about until this post. And then you look at this. Mujin be like, I died, bro. I died when I saw this, man. Hey, shout out Fruit Punch Samurai. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Hey, thank you. Another 3-hour video from Mujin. Can't wait, to be honest. I love them. Man, oh, dude, I love the HSR community. What the f? You guys are amazing. Back to being serious, because this is a serious topic. As you can see, the comments range from I had no clue what the hell was happening, but now I'm aware, thank you, I guess, to what the hell did you just say? Now, after this whole controversy was unfolding, obviously, this post has, let's check it out. Let's go to old.reddit to see the upvote percentage of this post. And here you go, 54% upvoted at 1,300 upvotes, right? This is definitely a controversial post. Hey, little update one day before I upload the video. It's currently sitting at 50% upvoted and down to 644 points. People have been downvoting this post like crazy, especially with how much attention it's been garnering. Thought you'd want to know about that. Anyway, back to the original video. He ended up making an edit, and here we go.
Oh shit, here we go. What did he had to add this time to edit it? Oh god.
Hey guys, this is the last thing I'll say in regards to this post. Things have clearly gotten heated and I want to clarify some things before moving on. First, I am not blaming the victims for anything. All I said is that it's on them whether or not to forgive Chris or believe he's changed for the better. However, I don't believe they get to decide whether he works again or not. Second, I am not trying to apologize on Chris's behalf. Chris owned up to what he did 5 years ago in a public post. He also denied the things he did not do. I saw the firestorm brewing on Twitter and I couldn't stand by and watch him get piled on with no one defending him. I thought that by posting here in long form, it would open the door to more nuanced and detailed discussion. I was wrong. At the very least, I need to apologize for stirring things further with what I said. However, I don't think staying silent would have been right either. I completely agree that this should have nothing to do with me or you. This should be between Chris and his exes/former friends. But all of this was made public 5 years ago by the people involved. It affects the fans, the people who work with him, all of us. We should be able to discuss these things civilly, openly, and honestly. But the more time I spend on the internet, the more I realize that isn't possible here. This isn't the town square or a place to discuss things freely or openly. These sites only serve to ratchet up our emotions, whatever they happen to be, and clearly this is an emotionally charged situation. The truth is, none of us know each other. We all judge each other blindly, yet regard one another with the familiarity of a neighbor, friend, or enemy. And then ends it by saying, I wasn't trying to change anyone's opinion, though it seems I've changed plenty of your opinions of me. If you truly believe I'm acting inappropriately or unprofessionally, I don't know how to refute or agree with you. You can't see my intent, nor the tone of my voice. You can only trust my word. Same goes from me to you. That probably makes it difficult or impossible to trust me or anything we see on the internet. I don't know. I have no idea how to navigate any of this. I did what I felt was right. That doesn't make it so, but it's the best any of us can do. So look, one thing is obvious. Griffin was way outside of his element here, right? PR is a very complicated thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. PR is definitely a pretty complex kind of. It's kind of basically a minefield, you know.
Public image and public relations, everything about this is an extremely tough nut to crack. And unless you are chronically online or have been doing it for a long time, it's very hard to make a post like this that will actually have somewhat of the results you're expecting. Griffin was completely blindsided here and ended up making the situation a gazillion times worse. I'm not even kidding. This post has made it so much worse for Chris. It's insane.
Ooh. That's not very good, to be honest. You're trying to feel like you were trying to fix it, but you just made things even worse. You just added more fuel to the fire. So, you know,
You have 786,000 members on the subreddit, and many of them who are online have been alerted to this. A lot of them had no clue about it beforehand. And look, what Griffin was trying to do is stand up for a friend. Man, that's very admirable, but the problem is, his wording was so terrible, it was so dog shit, that he ended up making himself seem like he's the same apple as Chris. They're both from the same tree. This is overall a really screwed up situation. Griffin has already suffered his first consequence for coming out in support of Chris, losing a role in a project he was on. This happened in less.
ooh, I saw this. I actually did saw this. Actually, I actually saw this.
Than 24 hours of him making the Reddit post. Things were starting to get real. Alice Homura, who voices another major character in Honkai Star Rail, the character Robin, who ironically is Sunday's sister in-game, made a subtweet on the situation saying, "To say I'm thoroughly disgusted is an understatement," following it up with her announcing that she's taking a break from Twitter. Kyle McCarley, a successful voice actor in the English dubbing industry, tweeted this in reply to Honkai Star Rail's tweet announcing Mose as a character. He said, "Chris Niosi is not a monster, he was a bad boyfriend, and he martyred himself in the court of public opinion for it." And then when you click on it, here's what you see. This post is from an account that no longer exists. That's
Ooh. Ah, man, dude.
right. He deleted his Twitter account shortly after. This, again, did not help Chris. Just like Griffin's post on Reddit, this didn't help Chris. Even if you wanted to defend him because you truly felt like that was the right thing to do, this action right here, deleting your account as soon as you got backlash in your replies, doesn't help at all. He then specified in his Discord that this wasn't him undermining the victims. It's just that cancel culture has been getting out of hand and that he didn't want this to happen to someone he's seen change so much over the years. But as I said, this really didn't help the situation, and not many people even got the chance to see what he said in Discord, so does it really matter? Look, objectively speaking, this isn't just another case of someone being canceled out of the blue. This isn't like South Korean cancel culture, right? Where someone's being canceled, people want to end their careers because they started dating someone, okay? Chris, over the years, had many people, co-workers, colleagues, friends, whatever, come out to say how toxic, how abusive, how unpleasant of a person he is. He chose to ignore all of them. And as far as we know, it didn't affect his career. Because guess what? It was he said, she said. There was no proof. And I think it's safe to
True, because there's no screenshots, there's no videos, there's none of this shit. So
say that in 2019, when Amy, his ex-girlfriend, wrote up the post calling him an abusive boyfriend, the same thing would have happened if he didn't respond, but he chose to respond. And in his response, he ended up making himself look a million times worse. This is simply about someone who was in a position of power and chose to use that power to commit malicious deeds. Does that mean that he should never hold another job in his life? No. But at the same time, would it be too crazy to assume that some people would just not want to have someone like that in their favorite game? I don't think so. And this leads me to HOYOVERSE with their infinite budget and the infinite talent pool available to them for voice actors. It just really perplexes me as to why they would go with Chris out of all people.
It should be the EN branch of the agency who hires these specific people. They are the ones who need to be doing these research, not HOYOVERSE themselves. You know, like not the Chinese themselves. They're busy, you know, creating the game and everything like that, you know. And then the agencies themselves are the ones who scout, you know, voice actors or actresses for the roles for these characters specifically. So.
Do need to specify here though, this is not HOYOVERSE's fault. This is the agency they hired. This is the studio or whatever that they chose to hire to pick out their talent.
It's the EN branch of the agency that's pretty dumb about this, to be honest, to hire someone like that. So
at a certain point there was a controversy in which voice actors weren't being paid for their work in HOYOVERSE games. HOYOVERSE wasn't even aware of this. This was fully on the studio. But regardless, the responsibility does fall upon them because that's who they're hiring, right? And unfortunately, when
it's the agency is at fault, you know. So how are they supposed to know like the whole entire thing about certain agencies over here on the west side, you know, compared to them where they have full control over there in the Chinese? You know, they're more aware in the Chinese territory than over here. It's basically saying like, you know, an EN, you know, game company or so is hiring a, you know, like a Japanese, you know, agency, right? For example, right? How are they supposed to know that what they are specifically, what they've done in the past and all this other shit? So, you know, there's some things, there's some caveats here and there in between, you know, they just don't know, you know. So
whenever you hire someone like that, you are tainting the reputation of anyone else who has voiced for your game. And there's many very talented and cool people who voice for characters here. Why would you take this risk? Why would you do that to yourself? So they have to be very careful with this. Look, I find it admirable that even though it was a very big risk, you had friends of Chris who defended him throughout this whole thing. Sure. But my question is, were they doing it because they truly saw change over the years and truly recognized that this is a different person, or were they misled like Sayu, who didn't even know half the stuff that Chris had done? I don't know. But I'm not about to send any hate brigades originating from this video, right? So we're not going to sit here.
Yeah, same. I'm not sending any hate either whatsoever. I don't expect to see anybody from over here sending hate, you know, so.
And theory craft about that. It is completely up to you, the viewer watching right now, to make up your opinion on that. I think you can still make up your opinion even though I wasn't fully neutral halfway through the video, but can you blame me, dude? Come on. As always, I just hope that in the process, no one gets hurt. I think
you can't really be neutral on this one, Mujin. So yeah, you can't really be neutral on this one, to be honest. So
have enough.
I understand he's trying to like give out the information and rely and everything like that, but at the end of the day, you know, you can't be neutral on this one. So
victims in this situation. What a mess this is, dude. Can we just go 1 week without something like this happening, please? Thank you so much for watching. If you watched the whole thing, as always, you're insane, and I love you, and I'll see you the next time I upload, whenever that is. Yeah. Mwah.
I have lived for 30 years, but only now realize that drug sex requires consent. My bad. Don't worry, Koa. I don't think any of us can send hate to the basement. Okay, so let's talk about it a little bit, right? So the people that were kind of like defending or so on this, Jesus Christ, like I'm not gonna lie, pretty crazy in my personal opinion. Like, so what he did is fucking crazy. I'll be honest with you, right? Right? Granted, it's like all about he say, she said kind of type of thing back there. So has he changed? I don't know. I don't freaking know, to be honest. I'm not his friend. I'm not acquaintance in Zion, and I don't even know. I don't know. Okay, I don't fucking know. Okay, all right. But like, it's very interesting that this man got a cancellation, and then he changed and he got a redemption arc basically on coming back on being a voice actor. So, man, sometimes sometimes I question myself if I even want to come back. Well, not come back, but come in and try to be more, more serious in becoming a voice actress or so. For at least for the Ian side, I don't know now. I honestly don't know now. I'm kind of like a little bit kind of like, you know. I'm just kind of like, dude, I don't know about this one, to be honest. I just feel like I might as well just learn Japanese and go study over at Japan or so for some voice acting stuff, and then try my luck over there at the end of the day, So I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. It's bad. It's bad. All I'll say is skill issue to the guy. Only issues with they change is that they probably never had to deal with that shit. I'll be honest with you, this is just completely bad. I blame the agency or so, the ENVA agency who hired this person specifically, for the role for this character. So I don't know, man. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I heard that Sunday got stepped down or so. He had to step down from the role or so for playing Sunday or so. I don't know, something like that. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or anything like that, but Ian B whack as fuck. It do be. Yes, it's true. Okay. Damn, dude, that's crazy, to be honest. That's actually a little bit wild, to be honest. Ew. Oh. Ew. This is not good. Not good at all. Very bad. Very bad indeed. Jesus Christ. Like I said, it was very interesting because I never knew anything about this person specifically. Like, I've never heard of this person's name in my entire life. Because, at the end of the day, right, I don't listen to Ian. I don't really listen to many Ian voice actors, so I mostly listen to a lot more Japanese. It's my pool of Ian VAs or so. It's very small. It's like super small, So yeah, me personally, I never liked Sayu personally, so it's just my own personal taste. I don't hate the guy. I just don't like him personally. So, but anyways, that was pretty interesting to learn about this specifically, and well, you can let me know if you guys feel like he changed, you can leave it down in the comment sections down below. And yeah, that's the end of the video. And peace.